Alright, what's up guys? I hope you can hear me well. I'm using a new mic. It's my brother's mic, so let me just get right into the video. So basically what I did a couple days ago is I went to the total chart. If you guys don't know what this is, it's basically the crypto total market cap. And let's make this super simple and easy to understand. So just make it clear. Actually, I like having the moving averages. So what I use now is basically just super simple GAN setup for like how to trade basically. The best way to trade, and what he used is the 365 days, so the yearly chart, the monthly chart, the weekly and the daily. So the daily, when it gets super volatile, and to really analyze what the price action means. The weekly is right here as well. This one's a good chart to be doing for the swings, right? Swing trades. The monthly, you know, and finally the yearly. The yearly. And if I use BLX, if I pull up BLX, I just want to show you something real quick. Top left on the 365-day chart here. If you pull up the Fibonacci extension from the bottom to the top, you get a perfect 382 extension. Now, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I'm not too sure. All I know is that it lines up pretty perfectly to the 382. And then it actually closes below it if you get the right points. So let's go back to the total chart. And what does that mean? Is that a bull flag? Are we looking at a bull flag right here in Bitcoin, or is it just literally going to come back down like that, like so, to retest, very low levels? The only thing fundamentally, the only reason that I would speculate that that would happen is that Bitcoin's competitor comes on the scene, maybe Libra or Ripple, or Libra, because this is total market cap, right? So if it's Ripple, it would have to pour into the same market cap. Now, if new money comes into total market cap, we should see a breakout, and I would like to see 61.8. If I go back to the BLX, I'll show you where the 61.8 is, and surprisingly, it's 222 or 21,000. So 221,000. That's a 200K, right? And if you go higher to the up here, you're talking like 2 millions, right? So if it does follow the Fibonacci sequence of numbers, we're gonna go to 200,000 based on technical analysis, and if we break that 382, if we can close above it. So let me go right into the technical analysis here on the total crypto market cap, because this is what I did my TA on. I thought it was Bitcoin, but I did it on the total instead. So let's start off with the monthly now. Now that we got this one out of the way, I've got a lot of to go through when it comes to indicators, right? So there's a couple things I want to point out. Obviously, you see the arrow. Let me take off this. So obviously you see the arrow, right? This possibly this is where the arrow is for right now. Yet, like, I know we fell a lot more. Excuse me. This one was 64%, while this one was like 40%. The only difference here versus here is that this was a liquidations, and just pure liquidations. A lot of people over leverage and whatnot. All right. So continuing on, I want to just point out we'll get into this indicator later, so just focus on, look at the bullish divergence on the volume indicator, right? So this is my volume indicator up here. We'll get into it later, so put that up there. I just want to point out this is a bearish divergence, and this was a bearish divergence in the past. Okay, so where we were in the past on the RSI, relatively at the same spot, right? Relatively at the same spot. So keep that into consideration. There's 26 more days to close on the monthly, so we just opened a new month candle. Now, kind of use your imagination. I was doing some volume in analysis the past few weeks, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised for the next 2 months that we don't have much volume or fluctuation like we didn't have right here. And I found basically a pattern in the volume that every, I think, what is it? What chart is it? I think it might be Binance. But basically, there's no activity every single. Yeah, it's on a different chart. I know which one it is, but I'm not. For basically 2 weeks, we have no activity, like zero volume, where the price just stays in a range for a while. And I think that's kind of what we're gonna do now. But the date on that is in December, sometime in December. There's just no volume, and it's happened three years in a row on the same date. So that's interesting to see that pattern persist. So yeah, so that's one thing to take into consideration. What I really want to point out here on this arrow is the reaction. So basically there's two red candles and then a big wick, two red candles and then a big wick, and then we continue upwards. Now if this candle right here turns into a green candle just like that, then of course we're going to start seeing a continuation of an uptrend. The only thing, what else I can point out on the MACD, of course, is the histogram. Whenever the histogram turns down, it's usually a good sign. On the monthly, the crossover is totally late, but it's still a good momentum gauge. We're talking about the histogram here as it's pointing upwards, and now it's kind of pointing downwards, but it's more so neutral because it's like it's in the positive territory. It's above the zero line, but it's still kind of flat in my opinion. So when we go to the weekly and the daily chart, it's going to basically it's going to be a lot clearer for us. So here's the RSI. I've got this these trend lines. So basically it's a channel, right? So you connect these two dots and then you press Command or Control, click on your mouse and drag it. So Command, click, and drag, and then yeah, you've got a perfect channel here on the RSI that it's rejecting. Now when it comes to the RSI rules, I look for 60 to 65 on the bearish. If we're bearish, we're going to get rejected below 60 to 65, and that's exactly what we did here. That's according to Constance Brown rules on RSI. If we're bullish, we're going to bounce at 40 to 45. So 40 to 45, or a trend line or some type of support like this. But yeah, if we're bearish, 60 to 65. If we're bearish on the way down, look for a bounce at 20 to 30. That's 20 to 30. And so yeah, basically for the monthly chart, we're going to be watching the 40 to 45 because that's where it's been bouncing. Basically it's going to tell us if we're bullish or not, right? 40, 45, we're going to come back to that. So yeah. All right, let's just go to the weekly chart. Kind of want to just go right to the weekly chart, see what we can see with comparisons. So here's on the weekly chart, we're going to do the same thing. So bearish divergence with volume and price, and the MACD pattern. Let's go right to the MACD pattern because this one was pretty nice. What I want to point out is that the MACD pattern here is very similar to what we have right now. So let's zoom in right here, and I believe on the daily chart I have another pattern right here that looks very similar with the RSI. So that's how I basically trade. I look for similar patterns, repeatable patterns in the market. Okay, so let me just keep this one separate. Maybe I'll do a separate video on it, but it's a little bit hard to get into today. So we're just going to keep it nice and basic so we can really get an understanding. So first things first. So there was a bearish divergence with the volume and the price right here. So basically, volume was up, came down, and then there was lesser volume. So there was a divergence with the volume. Okay, so we can get rid of that one. This one here is the MACD pattern with the crossover. We just got a crossover here. This is the weekly chart, and we're ticking down. We're ticking down. And that's what we need to see. We need to see a continuation all the way. And that's what I would like to see here on the weekly. I just want to point out that we've got a crossover, and it looks pretty damn similar, right? Pretty damn similar. If you want, you could add some support resistances and see, like, look, double bottom, possible double top with the MACD momentum. But what we have to remember here on this chart for the MACD is the histogram needs to continue ticking down. The histogram needs to continue ticking down on the weekly. Okay. Last but not least, we had some bearish divergence here. This was minor, but it was still a bearish divergence with this high and flat RSI. So basically that's losing momentum, losing strength is really what they call it. So I haven't looked at this chart for about 3 to 4 days now, and when I checked it the first time, it was bouncing on this line. Okay, it was bouncing on this line on the weekly, and we just closed last week, right? So the bulls definitely pushed up the prices. Yeah, I believe that we were getting a little bit of a bearish divergence, but to keep it nice and simple, the bulls basically pushed up the prices, and we are bouncing on this line right here. You can also add this like a trend line like here, that I believe whenever we break this trend line, we should definitely come back and retest that 40 to 45, because to me 50, like, this is not a very big support. It's just holding support, holding steady because of past prices. But 40 to 45 and 20 to 30 is where you want to see a bounce. Okay, is where you want to see a bounce. So at the end of this week, what I would like to see, if we're bearish, is a break of this line. If we're bullish, we're gonna basically retest this zone right here, right? And honestly, I'm rooting to the downside. I want it to go down, but I have a date in mind. I'll show you on the daily chart that I believe the trend is going to change. That's in 4 days. 4 days from today. Today's Monday, so this Friday. Let's add 5 days to that. It'll be the Monday, October 9th, I think. Maybe it's the 10th. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, just taking a look at this chart, 1, 2, 3, possibly 4, and then truncated fifth of some sort, right? But that's just really guesswork when it comes down to it. We got a 61.8, 1.618 extension right here, came back, pulled up, and once again we crossed over on the MACD, and we're continuing to the downside. Now let's go to the daily chart. Because I have one pattern that I want to really see. We might be right here in the phase, in the cycle, like right here, that we need to break this. We need to break this low. Regardless, let's go to the daily chart because I have some good information here and a good pattern. So right here, I remember this move very, very precisely, like it was yesterday, because I called it right I think it was what 9,700, and I was very bullish here because first of all it was a inverse head and shoulder pattern. I knew a lot of people were short, and I just knew a squeeze was coming. The volume patterns lined up. It was beautiful. And then we got a squeeze. We got a squeeze about 50%. And then on a different chart, the weekly chart, something like that, about right here, I was short. I was really short, but I was too much short. So I was actually very shaky on my account because I was too much risk on the line. So I closed it way too early, like right here, where if I had good risk and psychology, like I was cool, I would have been able to profit a lot more off of this 60% decline. Same thing with Matic. I have that on a live trade video, but I learned from that mistake, and it's all about risk management, not just like for to sustain you for the long term risk management, but to actually stay mentally cool in a big drop where you want to take your profits, but you're not sure. You know, staying cool and sticking to sound money management rules and trading rules. So here's the dates that I'm looking for. So it was actually October 13th. October 13th, with the moving averages and whatnot. And then we also got another date right here, so the 16th. But I'm really relying more towards the October 13th. Um, Something like that, yeah. What I wanted to point out though, like I said on the weekly, there's this pattern that I'm watching from the past, and it looks very similar to what we have right now. The only difference is that we were below the moving averages here, and here we're above the moving averages. So you can see that we kind of got a weird, like 1, 2, and of course we broke the bottom here. So is it really going to be the opposite? The opposite to the way down? Now I'm just thinking of this now, right? So basically we had a trend line and then we broke the trend line. So we had a trend line here, and once we break the trend line, we can expect like some people are going to think it's an elongated fifth wave of some sort, a 1 2 1 2. I know that counts going 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 out there, but I'm looking for, like a huge dip in cryptocurrencies. Like that would be crazy if it follows this count. For some reason my down move has been broken. Like it's not showing me, but we're talking about $141 billion in cryptocurrency gone, evaporated. So, and of course we got some more supports right here. Like here's a good support, and take a look at the volume right here. We got that as a support. So I don't know if it's just gonna go bang. It would take about 60 days, 58 days, and that's if it follows this pattern to the downside. So yeah, this is basically what we're looking for right here. October 13th once again on the RSI, and the MACD. Here's the thing where I pulled it up, right? This is where I noticed the pattern right here. It was on the MACD first, and it's also confirmed on the RSI, also confirmed on the price. The only thing, it's the moving averages are different. So we got a crossover, double crossover, crossover, double crossover, and then a continuation basically to the upside. Continuation basically to the upside right here. So let's check where the price is. It was basically right at the breakout area. So basically what we want to see, you see this red line right here? We have a red line there as well. So that's what we want to see. Okay, we want to see a breakout to the upside here, and a continuation to the upside. If we break it, to the downside, then we can expect this move to persist. Let's go to Bitcoin on the shorter time frames. Let's see if I have anything on this chart. Not too much, on this chart. By the way, guys, I've set my charts up so it's super simple now. I've got a few time frames that I look for because I want to capitalize on the swing opportunities. I don't necessarily care too much about perfect entries or perfect this and that. I'm more focused about up here and my money management, instead of trying to get the perfect trades, right? So once again, here's the daily chart. We've got that double crossover continuation a little bit. The RSI is just in neutral zone where I wouldn't consider. But you see on the daily chart how we dipped. We dipped all the way down to 30. That tells me we're in a bear market. It tells me that we're in a bear market. Just because I know the rules. Typically, the RSI would like to go back to retest the 60, 65, but we didn't do that yet. Maybe the 13th, all the way till the 13th, we would go and retest the 60 to 65, but I think that would be max. And that would stop out a few traders for sure. Maybe giving us a leg up here, but we'll see, man. It's all about supply and demand. And let's stay consistent here. Let's go to the lower time frames. GAN doesn't use these time frames, but just for us for now, to see if we have any bearish divergences or whatnot. And I like looking at the lower time frames because I'm pretty good at scalping, but I just do that for fun. I just do that for fun, and I do make money with it. So scalping's pretty fun, especially when you track your statistics. So yeah, I mean the moving averages are definitely bullish. I'm looking for the volume. You see the volume patterns, because I know that there was a lot of people like smashing the buy walls, market buys, and I don't know if there's stop losses or what is it, but definitely a huge rejection afterwards. But still, because big buy, big buy, big buy, big buy, and then small sells, which tells you basically that even if the market's falling, it's getting absorbed. But just looking at this pattern here, it's like this is like a flag-ish, So there's two scenarios here, really, to sum this video up. There's two scenarios. What Gann calls oh man, I forgot the analogy, but he basically, when a market slowly progresses upwards, makes higher lows like this, like higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, and then it rips to the upside. It rips to the upside. There's an analogy that he uses, but I can't seem to think about it right now. So that's one scenario. The other scenario is that we're in a bear flag, and that whenever we break down, we're gonna form like that, boom, 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 downwards. On the smaller time frames, medium time frames, we also have this channel here that I'm looking for. We're probably hitting the middle point right now. Let's actually add it right here. Go to the Coinbase. I haven't checked this chart for a while, so let's see what is this. That's an interesting pattern for sure. I wish I had it a little bit higher. Okay, interesting. So we might have a head and shoulders here. Yeah, I see it now. So it looks something like boom, head, and then shoulders, right? But look at that left shoulder. It's like a huge shoulder. So maybe if we see the same thing, I mark my words. Watch October 13th, okay? Just October 13th. If we can even stay up here in this price, like we've got a downtrending trend line here. That's not it right there, but let's just clear it because I want to show you guys. I kind of forgot the idea that I wanted to show, but oh yeah, so basically it's the channel that I wanted to just draw to your attention here, just like this. And you can see that we've bounced right there. And channels are amazing in Bitcoin. They're really, really amazing in Bitcoin. Let's bring this up here. Just absolutely amazing. Because I know that in one of my videos, I didn't post it, but in one of my videos, if you pull up a channel like this and you mess around with it, whatever, you can see that we've got a perfect touch right there, right there. And if you readjust the channel to the top, it didn't quite yet get there. But if you readjust it like this, it's a perfect touch. So you got 1, 2, and then this is your overthrow. If this is your fifth wave up here of some sort for Elliott waves. It was an Elliott wave video, the one that I made. So that was your either your 1, 2, 3, or your A, B, C, and then this would be your, right now, your 1, 2, 3, 4. Really what we can't pass is this price point right here. So 10,944. That would definitely invalidate and short squeeze us. And then the next thing you know, we're back at this channel, challenging this channel at about 11,000. The volume profile is sitting, below us right now, which is kind of a good thing, unless we smash it to the downside. And the next target that you're looking for is this one, first one, or down here for the channel. So I'd be watching that channel, guys. Definitely be watching that channel. This one right here. So we're like inside of a channel, So it's very beautiful, very beautiful. And obviously to the downside, if we break this, come down here, probably do a bear flag like this. Boom, boom, and then boom, like that, if it follows the middle point. But I want to see that box for 50 whatever days, like I mentioned before, the 50 days, and then pointing us all the way down to, did I not save it? Oh, I think I did on the total. Yeah, pointing us all the way down to I think this is, just to eyeball it real quick, right around here, right? So about 7,000. And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's elongated fifth wave. Watch. And then it's going to look something like this. 1, 2, 3, A, B, C. Something like that, I'm sure. You got to anticipate the market. That's how you make some good profit, especially like for swing trades as well, but for smaller time frames as well. You have to anticipate crossovers. You have to anticipate moving averages. You have to anticipate volume, short squeezes. That's how you trade. Anticipation. So whatever gives you an edge to anticipate the market is what you need to focus on. So I hope you like this video. Like, subscribe, comment if you have anything necessary to say. Okay, peace.